And so Koin is short for koinonia, which is a Greek word used very commonly in the book of Acts in the New Testament and really refers to camaraderie and fellowship and oneness amongst the early church. And so the hope with this group is for it to be like that. But obviously, if you shorten it coin, there's a play on words there with coin, money, etc. Because our focus is on faith and on business. And so generally, we are a faith and business group in the spirit of koinonia. And so that's what we're about. And so in addition to having in-person meetings, we're actually having now, this is the first of what we hope to be many of these training calls on Zoom. And so without any further ado, I want to introduce our speaker for the hour. He's a amazing person. He's actually become one of my good friends, even though we've only met, I believe, once. I'm very impressed with him. He's a man of God. He loves the Lord tremendously, and he has an amazing background in ministry and evangelism, doing work for the Lord. But he's also got involved in business over the years and become very successful. And so he'll probably tell you a little bit about some of the different ventures that he has, but he's gotten very involved in online marketing, in digital marketing, design, and everything along those lines, and advertising as well online. And more recently, he's been even doing a lot of acquisitions. And so he has a couple of different companies. They do a lot of different things. He's been extremely successful. God's blessed him tremendously. But I love him because I know that his heart is first and foremost on the gospel and on sharing Christ with others. And so just an amazing person. We're really excited to have him. So with that, Monet, I want to hand it over to you. And we're really blessed today because he's going to be talking about a faith-based marketing system for small businesses. So we're going to have him speak. He's going to present, and then afterwards we'll open it up for questions. And this is being recorded, and so we plan to make this available for others afterwards. All right, Monet, go for it. Thank you so much for being here, Monet. Super blessed and
Yeah,
excited to have you.
thank you. Thank you so much, Sean. I really appreciate the your kind invitation to be here to share with Coin. I know this is actually the first webinar, or you would call it the Coin Connect, right? That's what you call it, right?
Yes.
Opportunity there. So thank you for the opportunity there. Wonderful to be here with everybody here this afternoon, this evening, and I am on Central Time right now, so it's a little bit after 8 o'clock in the evening. But I'm happy to be here with you. So today we're going to be talking about faith-based business marketing blueprints, right? And so let me see here as well. I'm trying to get a feel for the chat as well. So if you're in the chat, how many of you own a business currently? Let's see. Just put yes in the chat. If you own a business currently, let's put yes in the chat. Let's see that. All right, great. Great, awesome. How many of you aspiring to own a business? Let's put the yes in the chat. Opening soon. Somebody said opening soon. What are you opening, Claudia? Is it a new what type of venture are you opening up? That sounds exciting. Anybody else on the verge of opening up something or starting something? Oh, great. Dental practice. Awesome. Okay, trying to get started. Trying to get started. Great, great, great. All right. Now, I remember when I was in that phase as well, trying to get something started. I'm going to share a little bit briefly about my story here, and I'm going to get in a few things here today. Somebody said, Greg said electrical business. This is great. It's a great time to get into electrical business, actually, right now. So tonight we're going to be talking about faith and the business blueprints, right? So the goal is simple. How do you attract attention? How do you build trust? How do you capture leads and also turn interest into customers without compromising our values, right? So as a business as because as faith-driven businesses owners, basically, we are not trying to make noise necessarily, right? We are not just trying to chase money. We actually trying to copy. We're not really trying to copy what the world is actually doing out there per se, right? So we're actually asking a deeper question. How do I actually build and market a business that actually honors God, serves people, and also solves real problems, and also creates what is called impact in the marketplace, right? So that is what this presentation is all about. So tonight, I want you to walk away with something very practical, a practical framework, a blueprint that you can actually use, not just inspiration, not just theory, not just something that you can apply to, but also something that you can actually apply into your business, into your startup, into what you want to actually do, right? So I actually believe that there's actually two big important skills that you need to have when starting a business or when marketing a business, right? One of it is understanding how to market, right? So that's one thing here, how to market a business. But also number two is understanding how to sell. After you market, after you attract, then what do you do afterwards, right? So these are two important skills that you need to have because that is the skills that will acquire new customers, new patrons, even new patients, right? Like Claudia, you mentioned your dental practice there too as well, that you're on the verge of starting up. So, but what I want you to do here as well, this, if you know somebody that will benefit from this presentation, I want you to take some time to share that flyer with them, or you want to share that. You want to go ahead and copy what Sean said, sent in the WhatsApp group or on email. You want to forward something to them right now, right? So you want to do that to get somebody on there that you feel like will be benefit that can actually benefit from this presentation here today. Okay. Um, and so with that too as well, let's get right to it. So a little bit about my personal story. Now, what you're looking at here is, I remember a time where I actually slept on a church floor, and also things was a little bit difficult at the time. I remember jumping into missionary work, and the experience was quite difficult, right? And but it taught me so much value in terms of people and also faith and trusting God. And one of the experiences here that we had early on was that we wanted to be able to provide, right, for ourselves, family, and so forth. Looking at right there, this is my father, brothers, and myself. We are actually buying our first kind of business, in Florida for a small amount of money at the time. I was probably at least 24 years old. We were doing a lot of mission work in the community, lots of outreach and evangelism, and but we wanted to find a way to provide for ourselves, pay rent, and so forth, right? So we saw this business out was going for sale and was able to scrape up all the little pennies and dollars that we had in the house. I think even my mom used some of her retirement stuff money and to be able to purchase this business. I remember I had a car too as well. I had a car that was basically given to me, and I was able to trade that car for this green truck that you see in the back there. And to be able to do this business, this lawn business, right? And so with that experience too as well, you can see here that started to, take on clients, take on customers, and we began to create our marketing materials and started to market this thing. And that was years ago. I was a youngling in my early 20s at that time, and that taught me so many valuable lessons because one thing is that I was very focused, especially extremely focused on mission work, mission activities. At the same time, too, wanted to be able to provide for ourselves in some way, right, shape or fashion. This right here, family and also sister, father, and so forth. We're canvassing the community. We'll canvass neighborhoods, knock on doors. If anybody don't know what that is, that's basically the sale of literature, the sale of books, and we're knocking on doors and sharing faith at each door, but also at the same time too as well asking people, hey, you mind if we cut your grass, or you mind if we serve you through lawn services, right? That's how we're able to grow our business. So later down the line, we were invited to by 3ABN's Dare to Dream Network. This is for some people may not know, this is actually an actual television network, a Christian, a faith-based television network. So we're able to share the story that God has brought us through and so forth throughout this experience. Also, I was able to get involved in a lot of mission work. This is actually in one of the islands in the Caribbean as well. It was featured on a Rise and Shine television show, talking about the impact on community outreach that we were doing at the time. And this right here as well is basically a health evangelism training where we had doctors, physicians and pastors, lay people, community people, business people, getting involved in terms of how do they impact their community. I'm sharing that with you so you can see a little bit of my background. I'm going to share some business things with you here too as well when it comes to marketing. We're able to do what is called a health evangelistic meetings as well this is New York. I spent most of my adult life in New York, sharing health message and also gospel with so many individuals out there. So we're doing a youth training. We had over probably 80 young people at that time. Doing also hosted some health retreats as well. That was in Florida, where many persons did a lot of teaching, training, cooking class, cooking schools, so many activities that was being done overall over the years, right? Even spending time overseas, that was in Russia, in Moscow, doing some presentations out there and being a blessing to our community and also impacted in so many different ways. And also, God led to be able to, we are able to, he was able to provide a 25-bedroom facility with a 28-acre land. I think I was around 26 at the time when that happened, 26, 27 years old. And we were able to start what is called a health and wellness center out there in New York that currently runs right now and as well. So my younger brother manages and runs this program out in New York at this point in time. And also, as I begin to get involved in a lot of mission activities, lots of impact in the northeastern states of the United States, and reaching so many souls and hearts and seeing people transform in so many ways, I remember thinking, wow, I really feel like I'm fulfilling the purpose that God has called me for. And at the same time, too, I remember that I had practical responsibilities as well to be able to generate some sort of revenue and income to be able to sustain myself effectively, right? And as a result of doing this, too, I went into starting a business on the side. Like I started as a freelancer, basically graphic design. I went to art school myself and went to fine arts and took that skill that God has given to me as well to begin to serve people in small ways, like designing flyers, business cards, that sort of thing. And I was doing that whilst I was in the mission field serving. I remember going on mission trips in Ecuador, Colombia. I remember going to mission trips in so many different places, but also still being able to find internet connection to do my freelance work that I did on the side, to be able to make some sort of cash and so forth to sustain myself that way, right? Not knowing that the business that I will begin as a freelancer start to really put my marketing message out there and started to attract customers, slowly, and it began to compact and also begin to really snowball over time. I remember starting my business with about two people, myself and somebody else, and I did a lot of the work myself, and we were able to grow the company within probably 4 years or so to about 40 employees that working with us full time. And many of these people are still with us today. And so with this as well, was able to start my first business part time as a missionary. Grew it from 2 to 40 team members, and also from there, I began to 4 years later started my business. Was able to acquire a company, one of the largest, one of the most well-known tech companies in Houston, Texas, and then also later on acquiring a few more companies. But then realizing that mission is still my passion, and that's what I actually do at my core. That's what I believe God has called me for, to be able to be a light in the marketplace. And He's using business as a vehicle to be able to use it as an economic vehicle as well to help propel me forward in that mission. So let me ask you a question here today. If your faith-driven business disappeared today, who would notice? Who would notice? If your business were to disappear today, who will notice? So that's the big question here. Would your customers notice, right? Would your community lose something valuable, right? Would the marketplace miss your business if it disappeared? Now, this is an important question. Why? Because a business should not only exist to make money. A faith-based driven business should provide value. It should actually solve problems. It should actually serve people. It should actually represent excellence. It should actually reflect the character of God in the marketplace, right? So with that in mind, as we proceed a little further here as well, let me go forward. All right. So as we proceed forward here as well, there's one thing I wanted to keep in mind too as well. Why do some businesses or Christian-owned businesses struggle to be seen? Right? You're going to find that once you start business or anyone that's trying to impact or be able to put a service or product out there, you're going to realize very quickly that you will need customers, right? You will need customers. So why do some Christian businesses struggle to be seen? Some common issues that I've kind of noticed over time is doing excellent work, but very few people know. Dependent only on referrals and word of mouth, which these are actually important aspects of business, but also we should not depend upon this fully because you're going to reach a time where this is going to cap or this is not going to work as effective as it should. Outdated branding, websites, and marketing systems, fear that marketing is being worldly, or fear that they don't want to talk about their business because they feel shy to do that, right? No clear message that connects faith, value, and service, and also lack of consistent follow up with leads and also with customers, right? So, one of the biggest mindset shifts that we have to make is basically if you can't find your business, you can't serve them. If people can't find your business or your service, you can't really serve them. And visibility is not it's not vanity, it's actually stewardship, right? So the better question is, how do I become visible in a way that actually honors God and serve people? Because if people cannot find my business, you cannot serve them effectively. So we want to get into marketing now. How are we seen? How do you make your business more visible in the marketplace? How do you market yourself? How do you put your services out there? What is actual marketing? What is marketing? So, marketing is the activity, the set institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that actually have value for customers, clients, partners, and also society at large, right? This is from the American Marketing Association. So, it's basically an activity, right, to be able to communicate and deliver your message to a particular audience or group, right? And so this is what we do at our company on a regular basis. And some of the brands that we work with, you probably are aware of them. We work with some very large brands, even billion-dollar companies, where we actually manage their marketing for them and so forth, right? And so with this as well, it's essentially it's an activity of putting your message before people, right? And communicating that value, that offering that you want to put before them. So in your business, in your work, whatever you do when it comes to marketing and so forth, I want you to keep that in mind as well. So marketing is the art and science of strategic influence, right? So it's not necessarily just influence in itself, but also it is what? Strategic influence. So a marketer is one who seeks a specific response. You're looking for a specific response from your audience. Whether you want your audience to be able to take an action to either come to your practice, right? Or you want them to be able to choose your electrical business service, right? Or you want them to be able to purchase your particular product. What specific response that you want out of your marketing. So you want to keep that in mind. Now, that can sound, that can sound dangerous if your motive is wrong, because influence can be used to manipulate, right? But influence can be also used to serve. In other words, parents influence children, right? Teachers influence students, pastors influence congregations, leaders influence teams, business owners also influence customers or even patients. So the issue is not whether influence exists. The issue is what is the motive, what is the method, and what is the outcome that you're looking for when it comes to your marketing. So, what is biblical marketing? So, basically, it is sharing your business with clarity, honesty, and purpose, right? Serving people through your gifts, your products, and services, building visibility without compromising your values, positioning your business as a light in the marketplace. And the reason why I keep putting compromise values because if you want to have some sort of a faith-based foundation in your business, that is important. I remember getting so many offers to do things that is outside of my value system, right? And basically what I had to do was to deny it. Even things that paid extremely well, I had to deny it because of my conscience sake. So the goal of marketing the goal of marketing, as we look here a little bit further, is that for profit companies, you want to attract the right customers, build trust, increase revenue, and also serve the marketplace with excellence, right? So, and also we're going to see here together. We're going to look at four business marketing blueprint principles here, right? So I want to keep that in mind. Four faith-based business marketing blueprints. So it has four parts. The first one we're going to be looking at is audience. Who are you called to serve? Audience. Who are you called to serve? In other words, you want to be very specific in who you are targeting, right? So that's very important when it comes to your marketing. You have to understand your audience. You have to understand who they are, psychographic, demographic, where they live, so many aspects about them. We call that our ICP, right? So this is our customer profile that you want to be able to develop. You have to have a lot of clarity around who you are targeting. That's very important to keep in mind when it comes to anything marketing. Because once you understand who you're targeting, you're going to start understanding what are the problems that they have, who they are, where are they, What type of problems do they have? Or what are their desires? What is the outcome, potential outcomes that they're looking for? For example, at a case study, I'm just giving you a quick example here. Craig, I'm going to pull up your electrical business for a moment here. So basically, who are you called to serve, right? So are you serving residential? Are you serving commercial, right? That's very different. Residential, this is what is called B2C or business to customers, right? Commercial could definitely be B2B, which is business to business. That's two different forms of marketing. Business to customers is always emotionally driven. Business to business is basically a lot of it is logically driven, right? So once you understand who you're targeting, then you're able to design your message around your target audience. So, for example, let's say, Craig, that your business is electrical business, right? And you're looking to target homeowners in a specific type of neighborhood that has a specific electrical need, right? So are they busy homeowners? Are they affluent homeowners? Who are they, right? Where do they hang out? Where, what are the problems that they actually face with the electrical needs, right? And then your marketing should be positioned to be able to solve that direct problem that that individual or that business actually has. So you want to be specific in who you're targeting. Busy homeowners, local families, business owners, professionals, right? These are very broad, but you want to get as dialed in and as specific as possible. Health conscious customers. Maybe you have a health product that you want to market. Maybe you have a health service that you want to market. Who are they? For example, Claudia, dental practice. Are you targeting children? Is it young adults? Is it older people? Like, who are you specifically going after? Is it a particular neighborhood? Is there a particular need that you see with that audience as well? So you have to dial in and understand who are you called to serve. That is probably the single most important thing when it comes to marketing. You have to understand it because everything else that you do is going to be built off of that foundation, is going to be built off of that profile, is going to be built off of that audience that you're targeting. And with that audience, with that target audience, you're going to be developing a customer profile of who your ideal customer, what your ideal customer actually looks like and who are they, right? So you want to keep that in mind. So first thing is that you want to define your target group, right? You want to define your target group. Now in Romans 1:16 it says, "For I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God and salvation, to one that believeth, to the Jew first, also to the Greek." You notice that even in the scriptures, even in the Bible, Jesus had a target. Either you go to the Jew first, and then you also go to the Greek. That was very specific groups of people that needed to be reached a very specific way. And that's important to keep in mind. I know some people may say, well, I want to target everybody. That almost never works because you don't target everybody. There's actually very specific groups of people that you need to target, and also you want to get more defined with that. Jesus spoke differently to Nicodemus than to the Samaritan woman. You want to keep that in mind as well. His tonality, his messaging, the way that he approached was different when it comes to Nicodemus and when it comes to the Samaritan woman. People are reached in different ways, right? So typically, there are groups of audiences that can be reached in similar ways, right? So, for example, an audience that may be affluent and they may be maybe health professionals, they may have certain lifestyle practices and habits and so forth that you can tailor messaging for them. And that group, you can group that group as a profile, right? You want to target. Okay. So the second part of this blueprint is your message. Your message. What problem do you solve? In other words, your foundation, which is your research, your audience, understanding who your market is, that will give you ideas or insight into the problem that that actual market is actually having, right? And the problem that they need to get solved. So what problem are you solving for them? Does your service directly solve that need and that problem? Because sometimes what people will do is that they will develop these great products and great services that looks good, but are people really moved by them? Are people really attracted to them? Uh, they had a nice idea, they had a nice business concept, but nobody wants it because that's not the actual need of the group that you're targeting, or it may not necessarily be the solution to the problem that they actually have, right? So keep that in mind as well. So you want to keep in mind that you must understand the problem that you're solving and and does your solution directly solve that problem? Because you will call out that problem even in your marketing. You will call out the emotions around that problem. You will call out the pain around that problem. You will call out the desires around that problem. You will call out all of these things in your marketing. So when you talk to that audience and your message comes across to them, your audience will say something like this: "Wow, that thing actually spoke to me." Have you ever seen an advert before, an advertising or marketing piece, and it actually speaks to you, and you clicked on that thing on Facebook, you put your name in the on the landing page, you put your email and your phone number into there because that message actually spoke directly to you. Have you ever experienced that before? Right? I know that I've experienced some of that before here as well, because that individual or that business actually took time to understand the profile that they're targeting, the individual or the people group, or that group of people that they actually targeted, right? So you want to ensure that your message speaks directly to that audience where they feel like, wow, that person actually understands me. They know my problem, they know the solutions that I want, and so forth. That actually moves people to action because people begin, the more clarity they have around that, the more they actually trust you, and so forth, right? So, what problem are you solving, and who is it for? Who is it for, right? Confused people do not buy. Do not buy, right? If people are confused, they don't buy anything. Let me give you a quick tip when it comes to website design, because I've designed probably we've designed probably over 4,000 websites over the years, and so forth, right? So let me give you a tip when it comes to design. Uh, if you have a website that has a lot of options for somebody to select, you automatically can confuse them already, right? Especially when it comes to direct marketing material, right? So, for example, if you're running an advert, like let's say Facebook advertising and so forth, some sort of advertising, and you send people to a website that has a lot of options, people get confused. And when people get confused, they don't buy. And this is where we actually develop what is called funnels or landing pages that have a singular action, whether if it's you want somebody to call you or to fill out a form. These are the only two actions they can actually do, right? And also, if you have a website, it's important to add clarity around how you want people to navigate that website. In other words, you want to put the correct call to actions, right? So either you want to say, give me a call, schedule a free appointment, or schedule an estimate, right? Whether if it's a service-based business or whether if it's a practice or whether if it's a product you want to put like purchase now, right? Something that is more actionable. So the clearer your message is, even in your marketing materials, the better off you are. The more confused people are, they don't buy anything. It's almost like going to the store and you're trying to buy ketchup, right? And you see like 15 options and you're wondering, oh my, which one should I select? And you're sitting, you're looking at the shelf for a while, figuring out what to select, right? So because there's so many options to choose from, the more options people have, the more likely they are not to choose anything at all. So a clear message actually builds confidence. The clearer your message is, it builds confidence, and people buy when they're confident, right? People buy as well when they're least confused. Your message should focus on customers' problem, not just on your services. You don't just want to say, "Oh, I provide this service. Oh, I provide this product." Your message should focus on the problem that that individual actually has. So, for example, if you're targeting a group that is experiencing back pain, you want to go through. You want to understand that audience. What led that to that back pain that they have, and because you're now selling a solution to help them solve that problem, you want to also sell to them. You want to also market to them. What will life be like? When that back pain is resolved using the formula or the system or the whatever you have that you're offering, right? Life will be like, you know, spending more time, with your kids again, spending time with your grandkids, right? Having the opportunity to take walks around the neighborhood, right? Because maybe that actually matters to that audience, right? Being able to go to your kids' graduation. So you see that you're basically targeting their desires with the outcomes, and also you also want to call out their specific pain. You don't just want to focus on your services. people don't necessarily care about the mechanical aspects of it. All they really care about is how how do I become pain free? And I want to spend time again walking and being able to move and be mobile, right? They don't really care about, it's particularly the service or the product that you're offering in itself versus the solution that they actually want for their actual pain. So keep that in mind as well when you think about your marketing. Faith-based marketing should be honest and also should be clear. So a weak offer is, for example, weak messages. We offer business consulting. That's very weak, right? Something that could be possibly better, right? This is generalized. We help faith-driven business owners attract leads and grow without compromising their values, right? If that audience cares about this, then they will respond to that message, right? And so you don't just want to say, "Hey, I'm offering a new electrical service, right? Or I'm offering a trash pickup service, or I'm offering this new health product, or I'm offering this kind of thing." You want to be able to speak directly to your audience's desires or your audience's pain, right? Because that's what people mostly care about, right? When you think about it, nobody really cares about what type of service you're going to be providing per se, right? I've learned that a long time ago. That techno babble, you get people confused, right? Basically, you market in all the technical features of your product. People don't necessarily care about that per se. It depends on the group that you target. Most likely, I'm talking about more like customer-based people. They really care about the outcomes, right? How do you solve their actual need and how do you solve the actual problem? Okay. So what problem do you solve? What problem do you solve? So clarity creates trust and trust creates action. So with your marketing, you want to provide clarity to your audience of the solutions that you have for their pain. When you can specifically be able to clarify the solution to their pain, people trust you because you talk their language. Simple. They feel like you understand them. They feel like you know exactly what they're looking for. And they trust you that way. And the more you breach that trust gap, the more people create action, right? That creates action. The more people trust your messaging, that creates action. That's how people buy stuff, right? And that's important to actually keep that in mind as well when you do it. And people think marketing is some magical thing or some, all of a sudden people are attracted to products that you sell. But it's really about providing clarity on the people's pains or desires. They will trust you in the process because it's really about bridging the trust gap. And then that creates them taking action and moving forward, right? So connect with people. 1 Corinthians 9:20. And unto the Jews, I became as a Jew, right? That I may gain the Jews. He understood the scriptures here saying that he understood the audience. He became a Jew to talk their language, to appear as them, so that he may gain them. He may gain the trust of the Jews, right? To reach them, to them that are under the law, as under the law, that I may gain them that are under the law. So he understood audience, right? When it comes to 1 Corinthians 9:20, he understood audience. So part three of this blueprint is, where do your customers find solutions? That's also important to keep in mind. Now, the foundation of all of this is really understanding your audience. That will lead you to understand the message that your audience will need to hear. And also, that foundation will lead you to understanding, where do your customers actually find solutions? Where do your customers actually find solutions? So this is the third part here. So where do your customers find solutions? This is about visibility. It's not enough to know your audience and have a good message. You need to show up where your audience is already looking. I'm going to say that again. You need to show up where your audience is already looking, right? So, are your customers already searching on Google? Are your customers already watching videos on YouTube? Are your customers already interacting on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter or X or TikTok? are they asking for friends for recommendations? Are they attending networking events? Are they reading emails? Are they reading text messages? We have to understand where your customers actually find solutions. Where do they go? Where are they hanging out? Where are they congregating, so to speak? Because that is where you want to put your marketing message. That's why your research, your foundation is important to keep that in mind. Okay. I hope that you're understanding this so far. If you're understanding what I'm talking about here today, if that's making sense to you today, just put one in the chat. Just put one in the chat. So I want to make sure that you're engaged with me here today. Okay, awesome. Let's say Lisa said one, Claudia one, Sean one, Elder, great, Grant, Kelly, Cliff, sorry, Jeff. Okay, great. Anybody else? Craig, right? So you want to understand where they actually hanging out. Because what we will do is that we don't do the research, we don't understand the audience. So guess what happens? We have the wrong message for the wrong audience. And then we are placing that message in the wrong place. And guess what people say? Well, my marketing does not work. I'm trying to grow my business, but this thing is not working because we have not taken time to understand who we targeting, the message that actually speaks directly to that audience, and where to place that message. All right. If you're not doing, if you have the wrong message in the wrong place, right, to the wrong audience, you're not going to get the results that you're looking for. And once you're able to dial that in and to really master that about your business, about your market, you will start experiencing what is called growth in your company, growth in your business, growth in the products that you want to sell, growth in the services that you want to provide, because you're talking directly to your audience in the right places. All right. So, are you visible where your customers are already looking for help? Where are they hanging out? Where are they looking for the services? Where are they making the decisions? We got to understand this. If you can tap into this, you've just opened up a gold mine for your company, right? Or for your business. For many businesses, Google is very important because people go there with intent, right? So I would say, Greg, like let's say electrical businesses, people go on Google to find and read reviews. So you need to be on Yelp, you need to be on Google reviews, you need to be on Home Advisor, you need to be on Nextdoor, you need to be on all the platforms that people actually go, the neighborhood goes to talk about who's the best guy in town to do this and do that and do this, right? That's where these people are talking about these things. And so that's where you want to be able to place your message. So if someone searches best plumber near me or business coach for Christian entrepreneurs or website designer in Houston, they are not just browsing, they're actually looking for a solution. That's like if they're searching on Google, right? So for other businesses, social media is important because trust is built over time through content, right? For some businesses, referrals and partnerships are the strongest platforms. Okay. So the key is this. Your business should be visible where your customers are already looking. If they are already there, that's where you need to be visible. Okay? If your business is not visible where people are looking, you're making it harder for them to find the service or product that you provide. All right? So to keep that in mind. Okay, so if your business is not visible where people are looking, you're making it harder for them to find the service or the product that you provide. Now let's go to four. Number four is systems. You have to build system around your marketing. This is not just something you do one time and all of a sudden it worked for you, you turn it off, and then you just started, it didn't work, you go to something else. You want to be able to develop a system around how do you carry out these marketing activities, right? Because you need to be consistent in carrying out these marketing activities because that's the secret of where you find the results. The more consistent you are, the more you will learn about your activities, the more you will need to refine and optimize your activities to be able to be stronger and better at how to reach people in the most effective way and what offers to put before your audience to attract them immediately and gain new business. Okay. So, how do you guide people? How do you guide people is the question. right? Do you have a clear next step after they see your message? Sometimes people will just put a message and say, "Hey, we have in this, the service. This is a new smoothie that I'm putting out from my shop," but there's no action. Nothing that says buy this or get this or do that. People need to be told what to do, and people want to be told what to do next. Because you put your message there, and people will say, "Okay, so what do you want me to do? Just look at your sign and right?" You need to have a clear next step in what person should actually do when they actually see your message. What are the actions that they take, right? So this is why in your message, there's three important pillars there. The first one is the hook, what attracts. The second one is your message, right? Your body, right? The story that you're sharing. And the third is your offer. How do you get them to actually take action, right? So this is, do you have a clear next step, a form or a funnel, right? What is the next clear call to action? So they get attention, but they do not capture. So basically, this is where businesses lose a lot of money. They get attention, but they do not capture the lead effectively. They get website traffic, but there's no clear next step. They get referrals, but nobody follows up properly. They post on social media, but there's nowhere for people to go. They get inquiries, but leads just fall through the crack. But attention without follow up is wasted opportunity. A website without clear next steps leads to losses in leads. A social media without a system does not produce consistent growth. Even referrals still need a process. So you ask yourself the question, do you have a clear next step? Do I have a form to capture information? Do I have a funnel? Do I have follow-up processes? Do I have a nurturing system to nurture and talk to that audience over time? Because not everybody is at a phase where they need to be where they're going to purchase anything, right? So how do I nurture them to get them ready? Because 6 months down the line, they may purchase it. Maybe 3 years down the line. I remember one time in my business, I basically nurtured he actually had a dental practice actually. So um, I, I followed up with him for at least 1 year, nurturing him an entire year until after a year he says, "I'm ready to move forward with you." He came on board. We were able to help his business and so forth. I think within 2 years, he was able to be acquired by another bigger company too as well, right? But it took me about a year to nurture them. I remember one time I went through a nurturing process too as well, working with a very large company. You probably know the brand. They actually a Fortune 50 company, and we're getting we're nurturing them for to be able to do all of their digital systems, global systems and so forth for the US, particularly in the US market and also in the European market. And it took me about 11 months, right? But that actually transformed my business tremendously as a result of nurturing, right? Sometimes people take time to buy. So you want to keep that in mind as well. Not everybody is ready for that. So what happens after someone becomes interested, right? So attention without follow-ups is wasted opportunity. A website without clear next steps loses leads. Social media without a system does not produce consistent growth, right? And so forth. So for example, attention can lead to a website or whatever you use to capture that opportunity. And then you have follow-ups, and then you have either you're selling a free consultation or selling a product, and then you want to be able to gather a review and ask them for a referral, right? So to keep business going. Okay. So there's two ways you can grow your companies or your business and so forth is number one is by getting new business through market activities. Number two is by remarketing people that are already customers, right? So we call that, activating your customer list again and selling to that audience, right? And so forth. And so without a system, people fall through the cracks, right? So that's where system is actually important. Let me give you a few quick case studies. This is a ministry. I'm going to give you a business example here as well. I remember one time, we were doing some marketing of some programs for the Lifestyle Center, right? And in New York, like I shared before, for those that are not there, basically helped to start a lifestyle program, in New York, Lifestyle Center, and did a lot of work out there, for many years. And in 3 to 4 weeks, we did a promotion. We actually um, had about 1,300 people sign up, and then that was an hour and a half webinar. We were able to raise about $23,000 for the organization through product kit sales within about 12 hours, right? By using marketing, this is the system of marketing that we actually use. Went from email, cold emails to meta advertising to WhatsApp groups, leveraging these into a singular funnel, follow-ups, right? Get people to be reminded because people forget why they sign up for something. You want to keep reminding them over and over and over and over until that event, and then they will come on, right? And so this is another one too. It's well, we did health evangelism training too. 8 weeks promotion, 480 students registered, 1,200 people live on the free training, raised about $100,000, over I think a week or two, and for the organization through student fees, product sales, and also through donations as well. The first thing that we used was marketing, getting the message before the audience, right? This is the exact funnels that we use here too as well by using these funnel processes and so forth, using promotions as well to get people onto the live system. So these are actually systems that we actually put in play to attract people and also put them through a follow-up sequence. This right here is a company that we work with as well. They have multiple locations. We're able to use another form of marketing, which is organic search marketing through Google and so forth. Within 1 year, we're able to uh, add about $2.8 million to their revenue, right, over a course of a year by using organic marketing overall. So the challenge is what would happen if your faith-driven business reached 10x more people, right? Or 5x more people, or 2x more people, right? What will that look for your business? How will that transform what you're doing, right? And also, there are a few action steps, not four, but actually five action steps here as well that I want you to do is basically clarify your message, identify who your audience are, build one simple marketing system this week, and also execute your plan, and then share your business with more courage that you actually believe in it and with consistency, right? With consistency as well. So that will put you in a great place. So grow with clarity. You want to serve with excellence. You want to market with integrity and glorify God through your business. Through your business. So I'm going to pause there today. Sean, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I know that we may have a Q&A session here even now. So I'm going to be inviting you back here. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Monet. What an amazing presentation. I got to go back and watch that again, actually. And we can because it's recorded. So, yeah, thank you so much. I just want to open up for questions. Anybody have any questions? And what you can do, I think you're able to unmute yourself. Go ahead and unmute yourself and then just introduce yourself with your name. You don't need to say much more than that. And then whatever your question is. Any questions for Monet?
All right. Any questions here? I know we have questions. Don't be shy. This is your opportunity to share the questions that you have.
So,
Yes.
my name is Grant,
Yes.
and I've
Hey,
got a
Grant.
quick question for you. So,
Of
I
course.
currently have a side business
Uh-huh.
selling avocados and
Nice.
some other fruits, but mostly avocados. So it's um, agriculture. Um, One of the challenges that I've had is identifying um, exactly what you were talking about. Who would be the potential customers,
Right.
and where would they be best found at? So I was wondering if you have any
Got it.
recommendations for how to do research for, who would be interested in. I had been thinking in general, people who are like health conscious, stuff like that. Um,
Okay.
but I don't really have anything that's much more specific than that. And so I'm not sure what is
Got
the
it.
the best way to reach them.
Yeah. Where are you actually based, Grant? Where are you based right now?
I'm near Escondido, California.
Oh, yeah,
San
California
Diego.
out there.
Yeah, San
San
Diego
Diego.
County.
Got it. Got it. Okay, San Diego County. So are you selling these avocados do you have mass amounts available or is it just smaller quantities available?
So the vast majority of what I'm selling right now is to
Yeah.
distributor
Oh,
because
distributor. Got it.
yeah, because
Yeah.
the volume that I'm doing that's easier to do like in a mass picking.
Right.
Um, I have done some individual sales. I like doing the individual sales because it's more profitable. You don't get as much if
Right.
you're selling them in bulk to a distributor. But that is a lot more labor intensive with the marketing and attracting customers and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely, definitely. It's going to be way more labor intensive than going through the distribution route, right?
Yeah.
But if you go directly to customers, you're going to have much more. You can add much more value there to your
Hmm.
avocados and probably make much more on the bottom line, right? Versus
Yeah.
a distributor, right? That'll take a huge chunk of your service, of your fees, actually. So, I mean, the first step that I will go about is I may want to understand who typically buys avocados, right? Who these people are, right? And if you are unsure how to begin your research, um, I would say it may not this may not always be the most I would say accurate route, but it may give you ideas, right? So you can get into ChatGPT, right? I'm going to give you something easy to do, and you can ask it specifically if you have a specific prompt that says, uh, "Can you research for me on the internet actual factual marketing studies or white papers. Not we don't ChatGPT making up stuff for us, right? What are
Hmm.
some white papers you can find for me online? Marketing papers, marketing materials, for why do people buy avocados at Whole Foods or at these higher end, like health food markets, right? What are the biggest motivators? See if there's any research that is out there.
Hmm.
Maybe that
Okay.
that can give you some sort of a good starting ground to find out what is out there, and you want to ask the prompt to say, hey, give me the actual reference, right? I don't want stuff made up. I don't want to just I want the
Yeah.
actual references so you can actually go back to those sources and find out more market research. Maybe that might open up a whole new world for you to dive a little bit deeper
Hmm.
into that particular the reasons why people buy and who these audiences actually are. And why do they come into Whole Foods and buy avocado, right? Why is that important to them? As well. So that will start giving you some good foundations and good clues. Um, I would say insights, so to speak, right? Not necessarily clues, but insights into that particular market, and then you want to develop that even more, right? So whether people may prefer, let's say, buying avocados as a basket, right, or buying avocados, you know, as in a batch or singular, or maybe families may want it delivered to their houses. I'm not really sure because I'm not really understanding the market necessarily there because I haven't done the research myself. But at least that will give you like a good starting ground to
Okay.
gain some more insights uh, and to help you develop a product and even a service that can meet the needs of what the market actually needs right now. What is the actual problem around avocados, right?
Yeah.
Why would somebody buy yours versus going to Whole Foods and buying it? Maybe you may have a delivery avocado service that ships it directly to them where they don't have to go to the store, uh,
Hmm.
and buy anything. So that cuts time from
Hmm.
families. Maybe so there might be multiple reasons why, and you have to find that fragmentation in the market, right? So that it's important to understand that, and then you want to provide you want to position your product to solve that direct problem that market actually has with
Hmm.
avocados.
Okay.
And once you can do that, then you got to find out where, how do you find those customers as well? Because doing that research will tell you who they are, and then you will get deeper into your research that way as well. So hopefully that sort of helps you out there. Give you some sort of a starter
Yeah.
to begin something on your end.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks so much, Monet. And Grant,
Yeah.
actually, this came to my mind because my wife, she does buy a good amount of fruit and vegetables in Southern California direct from farmers. And so one of the things that she's been able to do, I'm going to share my screen here, is literally just go on Facebook Marketplace. She actually she goes on this quite often just to see who has what for sale. And
Hmm.
there's actually a good amount of people that are on here buying and selling fruit and avocados.
Okay.
So yeah, there's one farmer in particular I know she buys from. I think he only just sells on Facebook Marketplace now because he has so many customers that he got from there. And I think it's free. You just put up a listing and people will
And
start
those just and
contacting
then
you.
they just ship it in normal U.S. mail.
No, these would be I think local people like in San Diego, and
Yeah.
then basically what she does is she messages with them. You usually start messaging them on Facebook and eventually text, and then
Okay.
you just she meets up with this one guy at I think the gas station right off of Pala
Oh
Mesa,
yeah,
and
just like for
he,
arrange for a dropping point. Okay.
yeah, exactly. And he'll sell it just like some of them will let you pick how many pounds, and then some of them are like, you got to buy a box. It's $50 a box or whatever. But
Sure.
this is definitely like a pretty cheap, easy way to just get out there. And
Yeah, I should
I
check out Facebook Marketplace too then. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
absolutely.
awesome.
Yep, and actually, the more you do there, the more you figure out things, right? And so forth. So thank you for that, Sean. Great. Um, any other questions?
Yeah, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
So as you know, I'm in the payment industries.
Oh, hey,
Um,
Elder. Yes,
hey,
it is Elder here talking. Great, great. You can go right ahead.
yeah, so I work with businesses that process debit and credit card transactions,
Uh-huh.
typically helping them with lowering transaction fees and also giving them value-added services. I remember about 3 years ago, I joined this group called BNI, Network
Yeah.
International. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a chamber of commerce, but you're pretty much
Right.
there every week to help each other get referrals and earn business from each other. That wasn't necessarily successful for me because business owners who own brick and mortar businesses or any type of businesses that process debit and credit cards wouldn't be there, right? Like it's typically people who are in insurance or like real estate or like anything that pretty much doesn't really require credit card transactions. So based off of what you said, like you want to go to where your prospects are shopping or are looking.
Right. Right.
So I was
Exactly.
wondering how to like find that for like my industry.
Right. So you have to find so within your industry, the first thing that I will do is to understand because this is a very sticky service, right, that you're offering, right?
Right.
How often do people change their financial processors?
Right.
Right. So
Not so often. Yeah.
it becomes very sticky. So that's where you got to find out that which market or which audience specifically will be interested in changing their services more often than others will, right?
Mm,
Because it's a very sticky service. And uh and so if it's is it restaurants, right? Is it so you got to figure that out. So that's basically in your
right.
research, whatever you do, you got to find out who is actually willing to change his financial services more often, which market or which vertical or which industry or which individual, then so you can understand who will actually want that service or need that service, right? So keep that in
Right.
mind because it's sticky and people don't usually change those things very often. You've probably seen that in your marketplace, right? So
Right.
it's very difficult. And also, what are their problems, and how does your solution solve that issue that they have, right? So let's
Mm,
say if it's like let's say restaurants, right? What problems do restaurant owners usually have with payment systems? What is the actual problem in that marketplace? And does your solution offers a direct solution, I'll use that word again, for that direct pain that they have. And that is
right.
what and that is where you want to keep selling that same service to that specific pain across the market. That's how you grow that
Right.
way. Right? Versus trying to be very broad and very, just trying to talk to every single person. You want to really, really dial into that specific group of people, right? To
Mm,
offer that service, right? In more particularly. So I, I will start off that way. I will start off that way. And if let's say, for example, if technology is a big issue for them, maybe they want POS systems, maybe you offer a particular technology on top of your financial services that they may be
right.
attracted to. That could be another thing too, as well, right? Are they looking for even some people are looking for easier ways to do things, right? Or faster way to do
Right.
things, or lower fees. What are the specific problem that
Yeah.
market has, and how does your solution solve that particularly, right? And that is where
Right.
you want to package that as an offer, not necessarily as a singular service. I moved away from offering. I move away from offering things like a very technical way of approaching the market versus more offer based, right?
Mm,
With what I mean by that is, let me give you an example of that. So, for example, what do you like, Elder? What is like the thing that you like the most, or a person that you admire, or just tell me. We're gonna do a
Oh,
quick
things
experiment.
that
Yeah.
let's say vegan food.
Okay, so you like vegan food. Do you have any persons or people that you admire or you will say, "Oh man, I would like to talk to that guy one day," or and so forth, right? Do you have anything like that? Or that
Anybody that I really like to talk to,
yeah.
let's say, do you know who Alex Hormozy is?
Okay, I know Alex Hormozy. I read all his books. I watch everything he has, and I study like a nerd. So,
Okay, yeah.
so yeah, I understand Alex Hormozy pretty well. So, for example, let me give you an example of this. Okay, so let's say, you have, what type of phone do you have, Elder? An
iPhone,
iPhone?
yeah,
Okay, yeah, an
iPhone
iPhone. Okay,
17.
so how much you will pay for an iPhone?
How much would I pay for an iPhone?
Yes.
Mm,
what is the price that you actually pay for one?
so let's say like $600.
Okay, so you're gonna pay $600 for an iPhone. So you just have an iPhone. So that's the product that you're selling, right? So let's say
Right,
we have a product that we're gonna sell. The product I'm actually selling that product to Elder,
right,
and I'm selling an iPhone to you for $600, right? So you're willing to pay $600
right.
for that iPhone. Okay, so that's just a product that I'm a singular product I'm offering. Now I can actually change that product into an offer and attract even more people to buy that product because I package it in an offer. What I mean by that is I will take that same product and say, hey, Elder, actually, there is this iPhone, right, that we're selling right now. And in this iPhone, it has already the locations of the best vegan restaurants all over the United States and all over the
Mm,
world already dialed in into that iPhone, right? All you got to do is go to your maps and select the groups and so forth, and you have the best restaurants out there for you. But as a matter of fact, with a bonus for that too as well, there is Alex Amosi's direct contact number in that phone, right? And whenever Alex Amosi sees somebody calling him from that number, he answers right away, right?
mm,
But Elder, that phone is the value of Alex Mosey's number in there is at least about $100,000, right? And the
mm.
value of having all those restaurants already in there is another $5,000, and so forth. But I'm actually giving you that iPhone today. You can have this iPhone as yours today for only about $3,000. Would you buy it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? Because it has something that is valuable for you, right? So, in other words, what I'm
Right.
saying here is sometimes we may go with offering a singular service, like let's say financial services that you're offering, but you can repackage your offer to with the technology that they get with that service, um, with the actual benefits of maybe saving on the back end that they get as well. So all of these package in an offer for that particular audience, right? And that will make it
Right.
much more attractive. So we want to make it much more attractive where it becomes a no-brainer for that particular audience to actually buy anything. You want it to be
Right.
no-brainer, duh, of course I'll buy a phone with $3,000 if I can always access Alex Hormozy because this guy's going to give me advice for my business. I can grow it way bigger than $3,000, right? So and
Right.
so. Okay, cool. Well,
Mm.
thanks for that, Elder. I hope that was
Yeah.
helpful for
Thank you.
you.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was.
I see Claudia's hand.
Yeah, I think Regina had her hand up
And
first, and then
Regina.
Claudia
Okay, she
after.
got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you guys. Hey
Yeah.
Monet, thank you
Hey.
so much for today. I do apologize. I came a little bit late, but
Okay.
my question for you is I am also in marketing and
Yes.
I love, what you mapped out in terms of like, how do you market and what you're doing. And my question is the majority of my clients are in ministry. Their
Okay.
budget is so tight. And
Mm.
that's always the challenge is they want so much,
Yeah.
but they can't afford it. So how do you continue to do what you're stating works, but now you got to do
Right.
it on a limited budget?
Okay. Okay. So, um, all right. So I'm going to be a little bit sensitive here. Okay. So just help me out for a little bit. Help me, Lord. So, so I started doing services for ministries, right? And so it all depends on your goals, right? So I think Regina, did she drop? Okay, you're still here. Okay, great.
I'm here.
It all
Yeah.
depends on your goals, right? Do you want to grow your business? Do you want to increase your cash flow? Uh, do you want to survive, right? Not just survive, but do you want to thrive, right? And I know you have a heart, and I have a heart too as well to do work for ministry. That's how I started my freelance work that I did. But then I realized very quickly that budget was always a problem, right? And so it put me in a place where I could never really take my company or my freelance work that I did at the time in a growth phase because I'm reaching an audience that doesn't really have the resources to spend on my services, right? So this is where you may have a misalignment in terms of like where do you want to go? What's your mission? What's your vision? And who you actually selling this to? And you could probably still serve ministries, but then you want to serve what type of ministries that you will need to serve so that they can actually have the budget so you can actually grow and sustain the business that you have, right? So for me, things have changed a lot in terms of how I approach this. So many times in ministry, I just I give my services, um, but it depends too as well. I will focus on more larger ministries that could actually afford. And I say that very carefully, right? That can actually afford the services that I'm offering. Or you may have to develop a way that you can make your services affordable and still profitable, right? And that's different. That's more like it's not necessarily it's basically marketing to the right ministries, but also positioning the right offer to those ministries, right? So, for example, I realized that there was a lot of ministries that needs help, but they don't have the budget. So I've been trying to think of how do I provide a fractional service that is still profitable, but at the same time still benefits those ministries to continue to impact and make a difference in the world, right? So
And
whether
and,
I
and
make my
if
services
I
more fractional, yeah,
and if I may
ahead,
interject,
of course.
I'm not taking on any more ministries. I want to keep the ones that I have because praise the
Okay, so
Lord, they
okay,
helped
thank you,
me get
Jesus. Yeah,
started. So
yes.
I want to keep them.
Okay.
My direct question is more so, how do I do what you're suggesting, but do it according to their budget? So how do I still get maximum impact, or at least the most, but they're
Hmm.
on a budget? Do I focus on, do I just focus on the Facebook marketing? Do I encourage them to spend money on ads? Do I do email based marketing? Because all that costs, right? If they want to
Yeah,
send bulk
all
email,
that costs. Yeah, all
all of
that
it
costs.
costs. And
Hmm.
so I'm working with my clients to get them to spend in the right places. I'm just
Right,
wondering from your expertise,
right.
what is right now the right place? And on top of that, I'm incorporating a lot more AI work.
Okay.
So a lot of their stuff can be, just automated
Automated.
and cost less.
Okay.
But I still
Yeah,
want them to win. I want them to win, but they just can't afford what
absolutely.
my other clients can.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'll do less labor intensive type of work, right? So in that case, anything to do with email marketing and so forth, either I will develop systems around that. So what I do particularly to allow me to keep margins healthy, I productize my services, right? So that's one thing that you could do. You can create a product out of your service, right? So in other words, you sell the same thing repeated the same way to different clients, right? That's called productization. So this is where you talked about AI, right? In terms of automations, automating services. So I'll find ways to reduce my overhead by productization, right? Whether if it's I have a select email lists or basically templates that I use. I just punch in the unique areas, and I actually use agents to do that or AI to help me put it together. Either you will focus on services that may require less work, less input. For example, paid media versus something that's more organic will take more time. So paid media is less input. So with paid media, like let's say social media advertising, then I want to create these ad copies and so forth that I can repeat over and over and over. So the fastest way to do this or to increase your margins is to productize your service offerings because you're delivering the same product to the marketplace every single time. So you don't have to keep doing things from scratch over and over and over. That's another thing too as well. If the ministry that you work with is all targeted in different audiences all the time, you're going to find yourself in a very tight spot because you have to develop new material every single time. And for us and what we do is that we tend to focus on niches, specifically markets where we can repeat assets over and over and over and over in that marketplace without having to redo the thing, customize it every single time, because that's where a lot of time is spent, right? So if you can productize it, your service, and find ways, of course, like you're doing, to automate that offering, that way you can keep your costs low and you can keep your margin healthy at the same time helping ministries make an impact, right? And so forth. Hopefully that was
Yeah.
helpful.
No,
Yeah,
that is totally helpful. And then just one last question, real quick.
sure.
How effective is email marketing within a Seventh day Adventist ministry where that email list has been their same email list forever? Is it time to do some lead gen events, webinars, and
Right.
things like that? Or do we
Hmm.
still keep staying consistent? I think you were saying earlier how
Right.
you were talking to your client for like 11 months and just,
Right.
you had to nurture them. Do we still nurture that email list or do we start a campaign for more lead gen work?
Got it. And is that email list taking action when you put an offer in front of them? Mm.
Um, I would say it's very low. It's low action. It's the same people making the
Or
same contributions.
got it, got it. And also,
Yeah,
do you have
but I
all of your
do
metrics
have
there?
I do have my metrics, and we
Okay.
send them their metrics like once every 3 months. But I have
Right.
one new client, my last one, my last ministry.
Yeah.
He's just launching a book. So I have one ministry that's been around a really long time. Their email
Right.
list is massive, but not very active. And then I
Okay.
have another one who's writing a book, who wrote a book. His email list is fresh. So I'm trying to kind of do the same thing for all my ministries just to save myself
Right.
time and not, but I'm
Right.
like, do I still keep doing email marketing for both? Or do I need to start switching my tactics with each client now?
Yeah, so I will switch tactics if the marketing channels have been there's a lot of fatigue in the marketing channel. That's where you probably
Mm,
need to fresh set of leads that's coming in.
mhm.
Or I need to reposition what I'm saying to that
What
audience, right?
what we're
Maybe
saying.
more value based, right? So I always want to give more value based in terms of like dial into that audience. So we use email lists a lot
Hmm.
when I did when I did a lot of marketing with ministry, and keep that email list extremely active where people actually engage with the emails all the time,
Hmm.
right? And so that's basically nurturing them by giving them value, right? So we give
Okay.
a lot of value. Email one value, email two value, email three value, email four. Sometimes 20 emails, value. And also you want to test out your audience responses, get responses from them, and then we put an offer in front of them and see how they respond to it. Whether if
Oh,
it's
that's great.
a book sale, whether if it's a I'm not sure what they're offering, but whatever they're offering to see how they respond to that. But if the list is actually have a lot of fatigue, you will definitely want to do fresh lead campaigns to get fresh leads in there as well,
And a
right?
lead
But
campaign
if it's
for you would be
yeah,
like a webinar or a.
yeah, lead campaigns will be webinars. Whenever our marketing ministries, no matter what it is, I always lead with value.
Mhm.
Value and transparency. You always want to lead that way.
Okay.
And then you always offer in the back end, right? All your offers are
Okay.
in the back end, right? Most of the times. You can do front end
Mhm.
offers if that trust is already built up, but people will trust you more by doing a value
Mhm.
thing. So for
Sure.
example, a webinar. What values does the people on that list will actually value from? If you put something before them and say, "Hey, I'm giving we have a actual free webinar that actually, and the webinar actually gives value, And then on the back end, you will actually make an offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
To sell something. Okay. This is what we did for ministry. We had an email list of about 7,000, 8,000
Mm-hmm.
emails. Um, there was that was around COVID time, right? That was around COVID time where people wanted solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So basically use that list to be able to market how do you keep your body optimized, right? Through the difficult challenges. And lots of people responded to that. Over 1,000 people responded to that free webinar, providing free value to that audience. And in
Yeah.
the webinar, you want to give them free takeaways. And then on the back end, that's where you want to sell a solution for people that don't have time to do all that kind of stuff, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they will just purchase it right away at a reasonable fee, right? So whatever the goals are or the outcomes that they're looking to achieve, uh, I always want to lead with value
Mm-hmm.
to audiences when it comes to ministry, always value.
Yeah.
And then you will
Yeah.
offer, you create offers, not a direct salesy way, but more like helping you way, right? Type of thing.
Yeah.
That tends to work much better, much stronger. Yeah.
Okay. I
Hmm.
have the vision. That was amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. You're welcome. I think we got Claudia now. Hey, Claudia.
Hi, it's really
Hey.
nice to hear
Yeah.
from you, and your presentation was excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mhm. So, as you heard earlier, I'm looking to
Yes.
open my dental practice, but it's going to be more niche. It's actually like an airway focused dental practice.
Okay.
And I'm having a hard time defining my target audience in the sense that I want it to evolve. I want to start off focused on children and childhood and development of
Okay.
the airway. And then eventually, I think um, I want to open up to treating adults. But because that's the case, what should be my marketing or branding um, focus? Does it change or does it just have to be a different business once I start working on adults? Does that make sense? That's my
Yeah, it
question.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So I'll tell you one thing about doing business in my little life here. And that is whenever you start changing audiences and whenever you start changing things like that, it requires a whole new way of managing and handling and acquiring,
Okay.
right? Basically means that every new offer requires a whole new system
Okay.
of fulfilling that offer, right? So I'll say if you want to focus on airway dental, airway dentistry, I think that is more like dealing with breathing structure, right?
Right. And
Breathing,
how
right?
like
Um,
sleep
like
devices.
sleeping, okay, like mouth breathing, snoring, sleep
Correct.
apnea type of thing.
Yeah. And
Yes,
then in
and
children, you're basically developing that airway rather than, and then adults, you're
got it.
actually intervening.
Okay, got it. I got it. Okay, so that's a very targeted area that you're focusing on there, which is good because the more specific you are sometimes, you can develop more specific marketing messages for that audience.
Yeah.
Um, so the first place I will start off, and you say you wanted to start from kids and then evolve into adults, which you can do, but just keep in mind that if you build your practice to be known for one thing as well, sometimes it is, difficult to add new things to it
Yes.
as well, which is possible, but it just becomes much more difficult because you already center all your branding around this particular thing that you
Okay.
offer in there, right? Um, so have you done any research on your end as well in terms of like, is there a consistent market that actually need that solution,
Good question. I have done some
especially for
research.
kids?
Yes, I have done some research. It
Okay.
is really a market that requires a lot of education, really, because it's a
Okay.
it's a
Okay.
gap in
Yes.
healthcare,
In
dental
healthcare.
and
So
medical. Children should
got
be
it.
screened by pediatricians and they should be screened by their dentist, and it's not because it's not something
It
that's
is
taught.
not.
It's not taught at the school level. You have to go
Right.
out of your way and get other training for it. right? Does that make sense? So
Right.
it's just
Yeah, it
barely
makes a lot of
becoming more
sense.
standardized. So it is a gap
Right.
in knowledge, really.
Right. So what that tells me is that this is a low sophistication market, meaning that people are not coming ready to take action.
Right.
They
Yes.
actually don't know that they need to take action, right?
The only place, I
Um,
mean, can I,
yeah. Yeah, of course you can interject. That's fine. I'm just processing
sorry.
here with you. Yeah,
There's companies online with amazing marketing and they're doing
right.
amazing.
Hmm.
And so they're targeting kind of like my husband said, like soccer moms, right? The
Okay.
moms that are the ones struggling with because this is also going to show up in behavioral issues and
Right.
um, things that can impact the whole family, but you don't know, you haven't been given a clear path of how to address it. Um, so I have seen that Instagram marketing, education focused is
Yeah, education
appears
focused
to be
because of
very
low
effective.
sophistication
Uh-huh.
in the marketplace. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is right. So whenever the market is less sophisticated, you lead with education. Whether the market is more sophisticated, you lead with direct offers, right?
Oh,
Because they're much more ready to buy, right?
yeah.
Versus you gotta you gotta educate parents and they have to know that they have that kids have this type of issues or and so forth. So there's a huge gap there.
Yeah.
Um, one thing that came to my mind, Claudia, when you spoke is let me give you a shortcut to marketing, right? I mean, there's no overnight, success in things, right? But let me give you a shortcut to it, to marketing. That's for any industry, anybody here. You can take this note down. Um, it's called mimicking, right? So essentially, um, you you study what competitors are doing, not just any competitors, but the most successful competitors are doing. Um, I will do a lot of research on them, and I will understand their market share, right? I will even call them up and ask them questions. I will interview them. I'll call competitors all day to find information and market research, right? Find out what they're pricing, what they're doing, that kind of thing, just to get a lot of insights, right? And then I will structure my marketing almost similar to what they do, or better than what they do, right? Even if I get 5 or 10% of the market share, if they have 60% of the market share, right? It depends on the market size that they actually service in. That's one
Mm-hmm.
way to do it. You can look at the materials, the audiences, who they're targeting, what type of educational materials. You can look at the Instagram pages and see which videos are going the most viral and create
Oh.
material almost exactly like what they're doing. The fastest way to grow on social media is by, I don't want to say we're copying, but it's almost like redoing viral
Mm-hmm.
content, right? So whatever the content that they have that gets the most views, you do
Mm-hmm.
content almost like that,
I
right?
see.
That's the fastest way to get these kind of things going, right? That's why people have these viral sensations, right? Um, and uh, and so with a market like yours, education is the main way that you lead the market, and then you will sell on the back end. It takes a lot more time to do that. So what I will do when it comes to marketing modalities, I will start to educate people on YouTube, create a YouTube channel talking about these things, create a Facebook, Instagram page talking about the education about these things as well. Even educating parents on TikTok or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you may have young parents
Yeah.
that are on TikTok as well, right? Um, so leading with education to bridge that gap, and then you want to lead them through the funnel until they can actually see the need to actually pay for this kind of services. It's one of the most time-consuming way to do marketing, but it's going to pay off big time because you want to lead more or less with content
Mm-hmm.
versus necessarily just ads per se, right? So I'll lead a lot with content because it's a very educational focused market.
Okay. So the content, what is the difference between leading with content versus ads?
Well, ads, content is
Personally?
like people will trust you over time, so you will build organic
Mm-hmm.
audiences versus ads is more you lead more with So with content with Instagram, like let's say I'm sure there's people that you follow, right, on social media.
Mhm.
You follow them for years, you know them, you acquaint yourself with them based upon what they put out. So there's a level of trust that's already built in there. So when I say content, I'm talking about that trust that actually built over time. It's
I
easier
see.
to sell to that group of people. Versus paid media is that I'm putting my service or my product in front of an audience that is completely cold, that know nothing about me,
Mm,
right? And so if they know nothing about me, then why would they buy something right off the back, right? And
yeah.
so there's different ways you can do paid media advertising to gain traction. For example, like what I will do is either develop a survey for your audience that gives them more insights into this, and puts them on an email nurture sequence or give them more value on the back end and then sell them down the line, right down the road and so forth, right? So, um, yeah, so when it comes to these very niche specific areas in healthcare and that kind of thing, there's a lot of education that needs to go into this so that people can actually buy
Yeah.
overall. And you can develop, of course, you can develop paid media, tactical funnels and so forth that leads with education as well, like doing a webinar, for example,
Right.
where you can provide free education to parents to make them aware of this thing
Yeah.
and then inviting them to your practice, right, and so forth. I'm assuming you're going to be more local focused, so you need more local traffic coming in.
Yeah.
So this is where you may have to be engaged doing local seminars, local talks in the community, and to get out there a lot more, educating and teaching that sort of thing, um, so that persons can respond to it. So it will take time, and I know this uh, on a little level because I spend a lot of my time in health. You know what I mean? I teach
Mm,
health all over. I've taught health all over the place, and I realize that people respond better when you educate them
yeah.
in low sophistication markets. They don't know that they need it yet, basically.
Yeah. Yes.
And
Thank you
your
so.
education makes them aware. Yeah, so hopefully that's helpful
Yeah.
as well.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes, no problem. Well, Sean, I'll hand it off to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Monet. This has been a blessing and an amazing
Yeah.
training. I've learned a lot, even myself, just with everything that you said. Especially the Q&A time has been really, really helpful. So I want to thank you for coming. Thank everyone else for coming. We're going to try to get this downloaded, uploaded on our YouTube channel that we're starting up. So when we have more of these, we'll have a lot of content like this on there. If anybody here knows other speakers that you'd like to have either on these Zoom Connect calls or on our Koin, sorry, yeah, these Koin Connect Zoom calls or Koin conferences that we're planning to have, let me know or let Elder know, and we can try to reach out to them, get them scheduled, everything. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you, everyone, and we'll keep you updated on things that are happening. Hopefully, we'll have more of these coming soon. All right, have a good
Thank
night,
you all.
everyone.
Take care.
Thank
Good night,
Yes,
you.
everybody.
thanks, Monet. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.